Mike was so overwhelmed by my pick of Shaq that he can't breathe right now.
I've been getting over a little coldy type thing, and it's in the like most coffee phase. And of course, I've had recordings yesterday and today and tomorrow. Okay. Sup, nerds? It's basketball. Welcome to Horse, a basketball podcast about everything except for the wins and losses. My name is Mike Schubert, and I'm joined by my trusted co-host, the Kendrick Perkins and Jalen Brunson doing a podcast together to no one believing Kendrick Perkins when he said he used to lock up Dirk. Who was it? Dwight Howard. It's Adam Amawala. Adam, how's it going?
It's going well. This is the first time hearing about that podcast. What a combination of people.
Yeah, it was some sort of live podcast. I don't know if it was Jalen's podcast or a Perk thing or whatever, but it seems like it was at All-Star Weekend. It was one of those like on-stage live podcasty type things. And I just saw a clip of it because I follow Jalen Brunson and his podcast on social media. And there was a clip of Perk talking to Jalen and asking him, are there any players in the league that you hate, like you really want to try and bring it to them extra oomph offensively because you hate them? And Jalen said yes, and then said he's not going to say who it is, but yes, those players exist, which I think is a great answer.
Yeah.
And then Perk, along in this answer, or at least in the question, at some point said, you know, like for me, it was Dwight Howard. Like I would always get really amped up to play Dwight, and he knew I would lock him down. And universally in the comments, people are like, Perk, I don't know that you were locking down Dwight Howard.
I would love to look up the stats of Dwight Howard's numbers against Kendrick Perkins. And also, even if he did, quote unquote, lock him down, I think that just means that he held Dwight to only getting 16 rebounds instead of 18. You know what I mean?
Right. Yeah. I held him to below his averages, and thus
I was talking to somebody last night who insisted that Dwight Howard could get up off the couch and get 10 rebounds a game right now. And I don't doubt that. I don't know what kind of shape he's in.
If he got, I think it's just a question of how many minutes does he get?
Right.
You know, like I think he could make it happen.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think he probably could. Shout out to Dwight and Jeremy Lin, who did a recent podcast on a positive note, and they were open and honest about how they felt like Kobe Bryant was quite rude to them on that Lakers team.
I heard about
which I think takes some bravery in the NBA. Everyone loves to talk about Kobe as like a perfect person, which he was not.
And it also is kind of cool to hear Lynn's perspective of like, you know, Kobe was speaking to me in a way where I was like, listen, man, I know you're better than me, but I'm still a human being and I would appreciate some respect. And it sounds like after he stood up to Kobe in that way when they were on the Lakers together, Kobe kind of treated him differently. But yeah, I mean, listen, whether it's Kobe or certainly Michael Jordan, like these are not easy people to be around. These are not easy people to play with. And part of what makes them great is how demanding they are, but that also is not like a pleasant person to spend time with a lot of the time.
No. And specifically for the case of Jeremy Lin, he was disrespected in many different forms just because he was Asian. Like there's YouTube compilations of all these fouls against him that were not called flagrant fouls or sometimes not called fouls at all. A lot of people didn't like him in the league, the way he came into the league, all that kind of stuff. And he showed to be nothing but the nicest human ever. And it's just absurd, the treatment that he received.
Yeah.
But that's the breaks, I guess. I don't know. We're here to talk about basketball, about more positive and uplifting things. It's a special episode. We're celebrating our 200th episode in episode 201 with a Super Duper Hyper Mega NBQ&A, which is fun since last episode was a Super Duper Hyper Mega Full Court Press. Now we get the NBQ&A all the way through, which is going to be fun.
Yeah.
Yes. So we've got questions that have been sent in via voicemail and via typing, and we're going to get into those. But in order to get ready, we got to head to the Teal Memorial locker room, which great sound system there. So if you're listening to user listener submitted voicemails, it's going to sound good.
And there's a suggestion box. So if anybody has questions in the locker room, they can also submit them as they please, anonymously if they want to.
Very good. Very good stuff. You know who is also welcome to give us suggestions if they so desire?
I would say our patrons. This is going to be a patron-heavy episode, which we absolutely love. So shout out to all of you, and most specifically to our producer-level patrons, the people who contribute the most and help this fire horse chugging along.
Yep. Shout out to Polly Burridge, Salvatore Testa, Siobhan Ellsbury, Dunker Chasing Taco Falls, Bang, Bang, Roast Beef Debris, Denver Steam Nuggets, Anna Reed. Steph Curry is tired of listening to Draymond.
There was a clip that surfaced recently of Steph. Draymond was yelling and complaining about something. I don't know the context, but I saw a meme that was like, when you have to listen to your girlfriend complain, but you know she's absolutely wrong about her side of the argument or something like that. So it was just Steph looking a little tired of the Draymond experience. I'm sure they're fine. I don't want to stir up any drama. You know?
I mean, I think Draymond won't be on the Warriors next year. I think his contract ends this year, and I don't see that relationship continuing onward. So maybe it's best for everyone involved.
I think so. It's going to be very interesting if he and LeBron are on the Cavs next year together.
Man.
Could be interesting.
Yes, it would be wild if Draymond and LeBron were both on the Cavs. I would love the thing that was recently submitted in a mailbag episode by a listener to the Bill Simmons podcast, that LeBron should do a true, honest-to-goodness retirement tour and do 1-week contracts with every single team. I think it's so good. It'll never happen, but it's so good.
It won't happen, and also how would that impact his ability to be in the playoffs?
I don't think he'd be able to play,
right.
But I think it's I don't know. It's so good. We can make a one-time exception. I think it's so fun.
And it would be really cool for Bronny to get to spend 1 week with each G League team.
What's extra fascinating is that Bill Simmons, who oftentimes can be quite correct with these sort of predictions, just as someone who's covered the league for so long, he can just kind of see between the lines sometimes, like Neo in the Matrix. He thinks that more likely than LeBron going to the Cavs, if he does in fact leave the Lakers, is him going to the Warriors. And that would be very interesting.
That would be really cool.
It makes sense from the Warriors need him perspective. The Warriors don't have super high expectations perspective. There's still like a narrative to it where he can say, oh, look, me and Steph are finally teaming up. Like there's still something fun about that, even if they don't win the title. Because if he stays with the Lakers, it's a disappointment if they don't win. If he goes to the Cavs, it's for sure a disappointment if they don't win, because they're already a contender. And that was Bill's point, which is like, do you really want to bring in this guy? Yes, he's good, obviously, but there's so much media circus that comes with LeBron in general, but specifically for LeBron's farewell season, do you really want to throw that into the we have a good chance of winning the title without him vibes right away? Like I totally see.
Yeah, then he gets to stay in California.
Yeah, so I think he might be cooking with that.
The other way to stay in California, why doesn't the King play for the Kings? It just makes too much sense. I mean, they could go from 14 wins to 20 wins.
It could be really fun. It could be really fun. Yeah. We'll have to see. I worry that if my beloved 2025 NBA Cup champion New York Knicks flame out in a bad way in the playoffs, they're going to look to try and shake it up. And the plan 1A is get Giannis in the mix somehow, which sure, fine. I'll take that. That sounds great. But I worry that plan B is we got LeBron and then it's going to be terrible. Because media disaster plus New York City, I think that would be a recipe for disaster.
And if Knicks tickets are expensive now, my God.
Yeah. The Thunder came to town yesterday.
Yeah.
And the cheapest ticket. I'm glad I didn't go because it would have been a heartbreaker. We lost by 3 points in dramatic fashion off of questionable calls throughout. I had considered buying tickets, but I think it all worked out. But very expensive to try and get in the door there. And the Thunder play the Nets pretty soon, and I'm sure that it is probably they play them soon, and I'm sure, much like when you and I went last year, I think it's a different dollar amount for getting in the door.
I would think so, yeah.
But anyway, that was partway through our list of patron names. So Steph doesn't want to talk to Draymond.
Oh, yeah, bang.
Have to.
Sorry.
Chase Underulo, Naked Rachel, Sidney Crosby as Vampire, Chelsea's cousin, Ginger Spursboy, who is watching the stream live in the chat, Balls to the Walls, Mott's Forley, Utah Jash, and Derry Bird. And you know who else can make a request if it's specifically about how they want us to read ads on the podcast?
I suppose we would accept a request or question from our sponsor tab for a cause.
Yeah, if there is ever a sponsor that we'd be chill with receiving a request from, it's Tab for a Cause, because they're doing cool things. You open up a tab, and specifically to get it installed, you go to tabforacause.org/horse. You install it in just a couple of clicks, and then every time you open a tab, you can help raise money for charity. It's super simple. It's super easy. It's super good. Why not do it? What are you waiting for? They've sponsored us forever, so do it. Go to tabforacause.org/horse. And now, unless you're listening on Patreon or on the stream where we just go right into the next segment, we'll take a break for some locally inserted ads. And then we come back, we'll talk about other stuff. But if you're on Patreon or the stream, which is on Patreon too, so weird kind of inception there, we'll just keep talking. Adam, what do you got going on?
I don't think anything new since the last time we did this, but a quick shout out. I did not stay true to my word of writing down names, but I got to meet someone not at a show, but I actually did like a panel recently for the Mixed Asian Media folks and the Asian American Arts Alliance. It was very fun.
That looked very cool.
Yeah, it was really cool. It's a very unique experience to be in a room full of other half Asian people. Like, I feel like one of the experiences that I rarely have is walking into a room full of people that are the same background as me-ish. But anyway, I met somebody there who is a fan of yours and by extension a fan of Horse. I did not catch this person's name, but lovely guy and really nice to meet him. So if you are listening, please send me a message and remind me what your name is so I can say thank you better on the next episode. But this is what I have coming up. So on Saturday, March 14th, I will be headlining the Mahawi. I have learned how to say it. The Mahawi Performing Arts Center in Great Barrington, Massachusetts. After that, I have a weekend in Utah. So if you are near Park City, I will be headlining a Don't Tell comedy show there on Friday, March 20th. If you're near Provo, I will be recording a special for Dry Bar Comedy, which is very exciting. And that is going to be on Saturday, March 21st. And then on March 22nd, I will be headlining Wise Guys in Salt Lake City. So if you are in the Utah area, I'm looking at you, Utah Josh, and others.
Yeah.
Please come out to that show. Then after that, I've got some stuff coming up in New Jersey. So March 26th, I'm headlining the Stress Factory Comedy Club in New Brunswick. And in April, I will be headlining Zany's Chicago on April 21st. Mic Drop in Chandler, Arizona on April 25th. The Elysian Vault, which is one of the rooms at the Elysian Theater in Los Angeles, on April 28th. Boston on May 1st at the City Winery Loft. That is a wild stretch for me. And then still waiting on finalizing the shows in Lowell, Arkansas. So keep an eye out for that. Also working on Atlanta, hoping to still do San Diego, and of course more stuff throughout the year. But that's what I've got. What about you?
I've got new shows added since the last time. I was able to add things into the Nobody Ever Comes Here angle of
finally
the
got back
tour.
to you.
Yeah, some got back to me. So the soonest show happening is in Vienna, Virginia, which is near Washington, D.C., March 15th. And then I've got this run in April where now we're going to Albuquerque, New Mexico on April 7th, and then Berkeley, California on April 9th, and then Boise, Idaho on April 11th, where I'm doing a matinee show for the Noose Olympian at 5 p.m., and then it's at an improv theater. I will then be doing the improv show after the show at 7:30. You can get tickets to that.
Love that.
You can get $5 off tickets to that with the code YAYMIKE in all caps, so you can get tickets to my show, and then discounts for the Comedy Sports show afterwards. And then April 12th, I'll be in Denver, Colorado, and then doing Atlanta on the 20th, Charlotte on the 21st, and Raleigh on the 22nd of April. So come on through, say hey, should be fun. I am still working on getting the Atlanta show streamed, but I got to find a place that doesn't want to charge me an arm and a leg to stream it on the internet. So TBD on that. But that's what's on the horizon. So yeah, definitely come to those Albuquerque and Boise shows. I have no idea if people are going to show up. Please, so that these venues that I convinced that people would show up don't think I'm a big liar. So that is the end of us plugging stuff. We can now get into, should we do full court press first before NBQ&A?
Yeah, let's do full court press
NBQ&A
first, because we're going to save our typical one NBQ&A for our large one. So we'll do I would say somewhat abbreviated full court press, and then we're going to answer as many questions as we have time for, including some with audio, which is very exciting for us.
Yeah. So there's been some stuff. I think the biggest, most interesting thing was the Lou Dort weird flagrant foul against Jokic, which resulted in anger and a scuffle, and the most intense staring face of Jokic I've ever seen, with like the big eyes and the gritted teeth. And he looked like he was going to eat big Jalen Williams on the team as a tasty snack. He was enraged. I think rightfully so. It was an absolutely unnecessary, dirty, cheap shot from Dort, who just kind of stuck his hip out to a Jokic who was just running back down the court, not near a play at all. It was obnoxious.
I don't know if I'm the first one to coin this, but can we just create a new adjective, Dorty?
Dorty. Yeah. It's a shame because I like people who play hard defense. So why so often the people who play hard defense also need to do dirty things? Like, I would even understand if someone is just annoying like me when I play hard defense, but like I try to never like do anything to injure people. But you got Draymond kicking people in the balls, you got Dort doing this, you got Dylan Brooks doing stuff.
Dort almost took out his own teammate last night. I was watching some of the game. He fell really weird into Chet Holmgren.
Oh gosh, yeah, he flops a lot. Like it's really frustrating. I wish there were more people like OG Anunoby who just like played super intense defense and then were not rude. We need more people like that. Also,
hello to Denver Steam Nuggets, Lisa, in the chat, who says, I might die if Joker looked at me like that. Agreed.
I mean, he's huge. He's huge and scary and strong, and I wouldn't want to upset him that way. I would not want to be on the receiving end of that.
One thing you don't do is mess with Joker during the year of the horse. You just don't do it.
You don't. And Ginger Spurs Boy in the comments makes a good point. He also has his scary brothers that are somehow scarier than him. Yeah,
there's a video that I will share that I shared with you and our buddy Chris of someone doing like a fake voiceover of Jokic during like an argument with a ref, and it's just him mostly talking about how he's very unhappy in the NBA and wants to be with his horses. It's great. I'll share it.
It's fun. It's very fun. Very, very fun. But yeah, that was bad. Dort did admit that he went over the line, which like I guess is okay, but it's just absurd that it happened. And I very much appreciate that the Denver Nuggets coach was very much like, nah man, that was wild, like didn't back down from it being ridiculous. So I think that's good. I think it's very good. There were some other things going on in positive news. I don't know if we ever talked about it on the pod, but a couple years ago there was a young NBA fan, a fan of the Minnesota Timberwolves and Anthony Edwards, named Luca, who gave Anthony Edwards one of those like Livestrong bracelets, one of those, silicone bracelets. And Anthony Edwards said to him, like, I'm going to wear this every single game in your honor. I don't know if he promised to wear it every day until he beat cancer, or if he just said, I'm going to wear this every game. And true to his word, Anthony Edwards did. I also read later that he got a spare one so that if one ever broke during a game, he could instantly put it back on. That's awesome. He took it really seriously. And now that youngster, Luca, has defeated cancer. He did it. He beat cancer. It's so cool.
Really, really
it's so
cool.
wonderful.
Yeah. Oh. I'm not sure if they've already done this. Maybe you saw, but I hope he gets to like come back to a game and sit courtside and do a, kind of a celebratory.
I imagine once he's feeling healthy and up to it. That feels like it is in the works for sure. For sure.
Good on Anthony Edwards. I think sometimes he, rightfully so, gets a little shit for, maybe being inappropriate or not always thinking before he says certain things. And part of that I really like about him. He's like authentically himself at all moments.
Yeah, like Shaq was.
Yeah, exactly. But really, really cool story, and good on Anthony Edwards for that. Moving on, the tank is tanking. It is getting worse and worse and worse.
Really
I just
bad.
shared a stat with you. Let me look it up so that I actually get the number right. But at this current moment of the teams that are like actively tanking, they are on we're recording this on March 5th. They're on a combined 44-game losing streak. So that's the 10 worst teams in the league have lost a combined 44 in a row. And that's actually not as bad as it could be, because the Bulls did not win. I can't believe I'm wearing a Bull shirt right now, but the Bulls did not win in the month of February. They were winless in February.
Now it's the shortest month. It is the
shortest month. And this was not a leap year, because otherwise there would have been a big anniversary.
I would have had a big party.
But the Bulls lost 11 in a row before winning one game and then going back to losing. So my point is 44 is like on the low end of how bad that spectrum could be.
Right, it could have been 55, 56.
Yeah, I think clearly... I don't know when the next NBA collective bargaining agreement is happening. Maybe but it clearly needs to be addressed. It's been an issue for a while. Something's got to happen here.
There are talks to already change something next season. So you don't have to go full CBA. You just need to put things up to an owner's vote, I believe, at the change committee. I think there's certain things. Some things take longer, like expansion. It has to be approved, and then it takes a full year to be ratified. But I think there's certain rules changes can happen just with a vote. When they did things like when they changed the offensive rebound shot clock from 24 down to 14, I think that was something where you just vote on it, and enough people say yes, then it's good. I think that is going to be attempted. Adam Silver seems very upset with the tanking level going on. And this year, it's just gotten to new levels of absurdity in terms of how early it started. Like, we had some pre-All-Star game shenanigans. Like, it usually was, I don't know. So, like, initially it was like, we're just going to give up on April because there's like 3 weeks worth of games. And then March got into it. And then it was like, all right, after the All-Star break. And now we had pre-All-Star break shenanigans. It's just getting bad. A current trend has been all of these season-ending surgeries, a lot of which seem not necessary. I think Yusuf Nurkic on the Jazz got season-ending nose surgery, which like he probably did need for breathing through his nose better, but that really feels like I can get this during the off-season injury. Like, I don't know the recovery time on a nasal airflow surgery, but I feel like it's not 8 months so that he's ready for the start of next season. Like, I think it is probably...
Yeah, we're like a week away from someone missing the rest of the season to get a BBL.
It's just, you get LASIK. I don't know. Like, there's all these sorts of things that, you know, I got to get a tattoo removed and I have a couple of sessions booked. Like, it feels like to fight the things where you can't just rest someone, there has to be an actual injury. They're like, all right, we'll get this surgery that'll put you out for the rest of the year.
Ginger Spurs Boy makes a point in the comments, or in the chat rather. He says, I wouldn't be surprised if the current tanking in sports betting had a connection, even a slight one.
Oh, that's the only reason there's pressure.
Yeah.
That's the only reason Adam Silver is doing anything about it, is because there's money behind it. The apps and companies and organizations don't like the unpredictability. Now, I think there's other reasons to not want this. For example, me with attending a Knicks game. So I just learned that someone in the building we live in works for a company that has corporate Knicks tickets, and then sometimes people don't use them. And they like offhandedly mentioned this once, and I was like, yo, anytime there's a text message, just like, let me know. So they were saying like, yeah, when do you want to go to a game? And I looked at the upcoming schedule of Knicks home games, and I can only attend a certain amount because I'm going to be on tour in parts of April. And the only games I'm going to be in New York City for when the Knicks are playing in New York City is against the Pelicans and the Wizards and the Pacers. And it's like, I do want to attend these games, but there is a chance that these tanking teams play no one good. There's a chance that the Knicks rest people. So I could show up and it could be like, Cat's not playing tonight. OG's not playing tonight. McCall's not playing tonight. Like, I shouldn't have hesitations about free Knicks tickets. That's insane. I was gifted a silver platter of, hey, you can probably go to at least one Knicks game for free. And I looked at the schedule and I was like, ugh. Like, that sucks so much. I'm still going to go for sure. I'm worried, but I'm still going to go.
Right.
But that's wild.
And another excellent point from Ginger Spurs Boy, who says, imagine if you don't live where your team is from and your favorite player wasn't playing for a reason other than injury in the one game you were able to attend. I had that experience. I mean, my dad, like, you know, we weren't super well off, and my dad like went out of his way and got tickets for me to see Michael Jordan on the Wizards. Now, in that case, he got injured. It wasn't like it was, you know, load management, but yeah, it's tough. You know, we at least have the luxury of we can hop on the subway and be at 2 professional basketball team stadiums in less than an hour. For most people, you're making a trek sometimes, and like you might even wait until the day of, and you leave at 2:00, and at 4:00 you get a notification on your phone that, you know, Wemby's not playing, and that sucks.
Yeah. So hopefully it gets addressed. The tanking is ridiculous. I'm flummoxed to see what it's going to be like come mid to late April, but it's just wild. There's just a big disparity between the teams fighting for the play-in and the teams. I mean, if you look at the East, for example, the difference between the Bulls, who have like recently even entered the tanking situation, they are 8.5 games above the Wizards. Like there's just such a clear distinction. And then even the jump between the Grizzlies and the Blazers, who Blazers are in the last slot of the plane and then Grizzlies aren't, that's a 6-game difference. Like there's just huge gaps between the teams that are trying and the teams that aren't.
Right.
And there appears to be a clear line of demarcation of play-in tournaments. Like it's very clearly teams adapting to the restrictions, and that's always what's going to happen. You're never going to be able to solve tanking because teams will always adapt to whatever it is. That's why you got to make the rules in a way in which the product of the games being played is as good as it can be for as long as it can be. People and teams will always adapt, but you have to try and make it like as unadaptable as possible.
Right. Because again, to your point, even in the situation where you're rewarded for winning once you're out of playoff contention, there's no reason that a team couldn't manipulate that and be like, hey, let's, tank the first half of the season.
Correct.
And then bring back our star player in the second half once we're out of contention and, earn our way into a number 1 pick. There's always going to be people gaming the system. So the best the NBA can do is just try to devise a system that mitigates that the most, because it's going to be there. It's just a question of like, how do you make it not as rampant and egregious as it is right now?
Yep. So final thing before we move on is that Unrivaled, the women's summer, I guess their version of summer, since their season is during the summer, their league, that had their championship. And the team that features Brianna Stewart, the Mist, won the Unrivaled Basketball Championship, which was fun. It's always a fun season. It's always fun. The 3-on-3 element is really cool. The 1-on-1 tournament was really cool too. And I need to look up who won because I didn't actually see the finals, but I know Chelsea Gray was destroying. Did she end up winning the whole thing? Yes, she did win it.
That makes sense, yeah.
Yeah, she was just bully balling people, and she was able to take home a $200,000 prize, which was great. Super good. So
we got to bring that to the NBA All-Star Weekend or something.
We really need to.
Yeah.
Something like it would be really nice. It seems like a couple of the NBA players talked about it being really cool, and them watching the replays or the games of it live. You can watch, like, YouTube has just a bunch of them, full replays, if not every single one, but I've seen a couple of them, and you get some really heated battles. The Kate Martin, Paige Beckers one was really good. You get some back and forths. People go out to big leads, and then there's comebacks. Like, it's good stuff. So if that finds its way into the All-Star game, it would be delightful. Even just have the women play one-on-one at the NBA All-Star game. Like, it was such a good, if the men are too scared, get the ladies up there. I'd watch them play at All-Star Saturday. Come on.
Yeah.
So I feel like now we can move on to our super duper hyper mega NBQ&A. Yeah.
Yeah. Let's do it.
Let's do it. Okay. How do we want to do this? Do we want to do the voicemails first?
We can do that. We can kind of mix and match. Why don't we start with a voicemail, and then it'll be a good way to find out if if it all works the way we want it to.
This all should work. I believe in my heart of hearts that it'll work.
Let's start with a question from one of our patrons, Josh is rich, or Josh isn't rich. Josh, either way.
Okay, so let me share my screen, and then I'm going to do share screen. I'm going to do share window. I think, I can do this window. I can click also share audio, share. So people should be able to see just this folder with the 4 MP3s. Yep. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Alrighty, and then let me play the Josh is/isn't rich one.
Sup, nerds? It's Utah Josh. I can't believe you guys are at your 200th episode. That is absolutely wild. I wanted to ask if you guys had a top maybe ranking of some of your favorite episodes, maybe like a top 5 of your favorite that actually happened, or maybe even a quick 3-on-3 of previous 3-on-3 subjects that you've done on the show. Hopefully that makes sense. Appreciate you guys. Love the show. And I'm excited for the episode.
Well, thanks, Utah Josh. That was very kind. I'm going to hit stop sharing for now, and then I'll do that again.
Yeah, I think I forgot that Utah Josh and the whole Josh is rich, Josh isn't rich is all the same.
I forgot
person.
about that.
Yeah.
I forgot about that. So love that. Yeah, wow. It's hard because there are so many lovely episodes of this podcast. There's so many things that were fun to cover, and there's lots of stuff. Does anything come to mind for you?
We've done so many that are fun. I think I most enjoy the ones that are completely silly and off the wall. And I think I have a certain affinity for like some of the earliest ones I did. I think one of the earliest 3-on-3s I did was like, most outrageous stadium foods, which
That
is
was
I
a
think
really
the origin
fun
of
one.
roast
That
beef
was-
debris.
Yeah. That was a really good one.
Another one that comes to mind is you and I did a 3-on-3 of our top 3 favorite basketball memories and our top 3
Yes,
most
that was a good
traumatic basketball memories.
Yep.
That was a really fun one. I feel like recently we did a 3-on-3 of like how to behave and pick up basketball. That was really fun and hopefully informative for people listening. I also think about some of the fun interviews we did. Recency bias here, but the Adam Amin interview I thought was incredible.
Great. I mean, the Chris Herring one is an all-timer.
Chris
for me.
Herring is an
He's
all-timer for sure.
Like one of my favorite writers, and that was absurd that he
Sarah
joined our podcast.
Spain. I mean, we've had
Sarah
some really
Spain
cool
was
guests.
fun. Yeah, we've had some really good ones. I enjoyed, that actually happened. I did a deep dive about when the New York Liberty played at Radio City Music Hall. That was fun. So it was something I didn't really know about. I also love the episodes we did with our parents. That's always fun.
Those were fun.
The mom's episode, the dad's episode, that was good. We did an episode where it was one of us did that actually happened about Clyde Frazier of me, and then you did the 3-on-3 about Stacey King. That's fun to put our two broadcasters together.
We must have coordinated that one, right?
I think that was coordinated. So yeah, that like lots of really fun stuff there. So
yeah. Also the that actually happened that I did about Emmanuel Hansel, the basketball player who lost an arm in an accident as a child and is still like an absolute hooper.
Yeah. And then I always have a fun one doing the things like me personally, I love doing like weird team names, funky jerseys, what teams used to be called, like all the little like quirky NBA history stuff.
Right.
I think is always fun. Always fun.
Totally.
Cool.
Great question.
Alrighty. Let me now do the next one. So again, I'll do the little share my tab, share audio, and we'll see if this works for Ginger Spurs Boy this time because it's Ginger Spurs Boy's question.
Hello, horse boys, or should I say horsemen. This is Ginger Spurs Boy. My question for you is, usually in NBA history, when a team tries to put together a super team, it often doesn't go very well. If you were to put together a super team that actually would work, who would your starting 5 be?
Ooh, okay. If we're going to put together a super team that would actually work, who's the starting 5? Now, my question is this a super team of current players in the league, or is this an all-time super team that we actually want to work together?
And we can get an answer in real time.
We can get in real time. Because, I think this is a flaw no matter what you're talking about, whether it's like teams actually trying to construct a super team. Sometimes they don't think about how the players will go together. And when people send the like all-time things, okay, all-time is what Ginger Spurs Boy suggests. Yeah, I agree. People don't like think about fit.
Right. And the inherent problem is that the best team of 5 players is not going to be the best 5 players, right? It's going to be the players who fit together. Like there's a reason that Derek White was on the Olympic team. It's not because he's necessarily one of the 12 best players in the NBA. It's because he's a great fit on that team, right? So a team where you have Michael Jordan, Kobe, LeBron, I don't know, name 2 other players, that's probably not going to be super successful because it's better to have like one main alpha, I think.
Right. Or at least a difference in skill sets. So let's do it. Let's try to craft some super teams. I've pulled up the NBA 75 list.
Okay.
Because that is a pretty good list of the top players of all time. But let's see. Like, I think your first pick either needs to be Michael Jordan or let's do like a little draft with it too. So let's do a draft and then you and I try to make teams that like actually make sense. Shall we rock, paper, scissors to see who picks first? All right. So rock, paper, scissors, shoot. Double scissors. Rock, paper, scissors, shoot. Oh, scissors to paper. I win. All right. I'll be nice. I'll take LeBron with the first pick.
Appreciate that. I will take Michael Jordan.
Great. So the good thing about LeBron is that he kind of fits with everybody. So that's not a huge concern. Mm-hmm. I will, for diversity in terms of play style, I'll take Kareem, number 2.
I'm gonna take Shaq.
Nice. So I've got a big man. I've got a wing. I should get some sort of guard. I'll take Steph. Give me Steph.
Okay. I will take Magic Johnson.
That's very good. Yeah, see? Okay, so we've got our point guards. I need someone who can really lock down on defense, and I could go either direction. Ooh, you know what I might do? This might be wild. But wow. This is so hard. How does anyone ever do this?
How
does anyone ever pick these teams? This is impossible. Yeah. I'm looking at this whole list and I'm like, that guy's great. Oh, that guy's great. Oh, that guy's great. And that guy's great. Everybody's great. Everyone's really good at basketball. My goodness. How about I just move it along and I'll take Hakeem Olajuwon and maybe we'll run like Kareem as a super giant stretch four kind of thing.
Oh, wow. This feels like cheating a little bit, but I'm going to take Scottie Pippen with my 4th pick.
That's great. No, that's great. And then for me, I would probably want to pick a wing who can probably play a little defense. This is probably going to be a weird one. But if we're taking people, no, I don't know if I want that. This is so hard. How does anyone ever do this? Gosh. This might be wild, but give me Kawhi. Like, let me just get someone who can just like absolutely lock down, but still hold their own on offense. And obviously I'm taking not injured Kawhi. But like, these are the kind of decisions you have to make when you're actually trying to go on fit and not just like 5 best players.
Yeah. Now this final one, I'm not saying that this guy is top 5 or top 10 all time, maybe not even top 100, but I think with the team I've constructed, he makes sense. Because the one thing I don't have on my team, I've got MJ, Pippen, Magic Johnson, and Shaq. I do not have a 3-point shooter.
Yeah.
I'm gonna throw prime Klay Thompson onto this team.
That's a great pick. He can play defense too. I think that's lovely. Yeah. So I think that kind of demonstrates what Ginger Spurs Boy talking about here is that 5 best players is not team of 5 that makes sense. You need to have a diversity of skill sets.
Give me a WNBA version of that.
Oh man, that's really hard. That's a tough one. Let's see. I would obviously take Sue Bird as my point guard and Diana Taurasi as my 2 guard. And I'd take Lisa Leslie. I feel like she usually played 5, but I feel like she could play the 4. And then, I'll do like a Lisa Leslie, Brianna Stewart, big man combo. And I guess big woman combo. And then and then I'll take Maya Moore. I feel like Maya Moore could work. Yeah. I'd have to. She might be too small. I might need someone a little bit bigger.
There's so many good options. I mean, so you could take Sabrina. You could take Gunvalale, Chelsea Gray
is an option. Cheryl Swoops.
My gosh.
Yeah. There's so many great choices there. So that's a tough one. That's very tough. Making this list is so hard. I could never work for ESPN. I could never do it.
Totally.
Okay, let's get into the next question. So I'll share my screen. And I will share the audio as well. It's from Deb.
Hi, Horse Boys. This is Deborah Mama Walla. That's right, Mama Walla. And here's my question for you. In recent years, there have been a lot of players who have come in from Europe, Wemby, Giannis, Luka. I'm curious to know whether the rules of play in Europe are the same as NBA rules or what the biggest differences might be. Thanks. Looking forward to the show.
That is a great question. And that's what originally NBQ&A sparked from, which was, hey, if you don't know what a rebound is, let us know what's up. We'll tell you.
Totally, yeah.
It's a good question.
Yeah. So to be clear, because obviously I know like EuroLeague in general is different from the NBA. Are most leagues in Europe all that same format?
I believe every league... I don't know of any that don't just follow the FIBA rules, which is what you see in the Olympics. So you've got the different colored ball. You've got the slightly shorter 3-point line. You've got the difference in length of quarters. I think they might just do they do?
I think it's 10-minute quarters, right?
10-minute quarters? Yeah, it's either that or it's 2 20-minute halves. I think it's 10-minute quarters. And then their paint is slightly non-rectangular. It's like slightly... outward like a trapezoid. And then another big thing is goaltending. Once the ball hits the rim, you can block the ball. So if you've ever played NBA Jam, it's like those rules. Once the ball hits the rim, you can do whatever you want. You can smack it, you can try to dunk it back in, all that kind of stuff. So that changes.
Right, because to clarify, in the NBA, if the ball hits the rim, or the ball is like hovering above the rim in any way after it's made contact, if a defensive player touches it, it's goaltending and the the points count. If an offensive player touches it, it counts as offensive basket interference and the points are waived off. Whereas
Correct.
in FIBA rules, if the ball's like hovering above the rim, you can put your hand directly, above the hoop and there's no issue there. But I guess more broadly, right? So I think of someone like Carmelo Anthony, who people always were like, his game is just so perfect for the international style of play. Like to someone like my mom who maybe doesn't understand what that means, like what does that imply?
I think the big thing that helps a lot of people, the 3-point line being a little closer, can really turn some people who aren't great shooters into elite shooters.
Right.
And I think for certain players, because there is no restriction about staying in the paint, like there's no offensive or defensive 3 in the key where you can't stay in the painted area for 3 seconds. That doesn't exist internationally. So sometimes you get more slower, plodding, slow the ball down type of offenses. And for someone like Carmelo, who operates from isolation and can let things kind of settle, he can then attack in a way that is different from the more high-paced, flying around, pace and space NBA, where you're just constantly in motion. Carmelo is not a constantly in motion guy like a Steph Curry or a Reggie Miller.
Right.
But then the only other thing is there's a difference in traveling that I ran into. I learned this one the hard way when I played in France. In the NBA, you can catch a ball off of a pass and then go into your like 1.5 steps. In FIBA, you can't. Like you'd have to, if you're catching something on the fast break, you have to immediately dribble it before you can do a gather. Like you can't do your gather, which is what allows you to do a 1.5 steps. You can't gather unless you're doing it from dribbling, which I guess makes sense because the reason you in the NBA are given that ability to gather is to make up for the fact that you are collecting the ball from dribbling. That's like what gives you the pass. But in FIBA rules, you strictly have to come from dribbling. You can't like catch the pass and then do the thing. People were calling travel for me all the time. And I was like, that isn't a travel. And like everyone in unison was like, yes, it is. And then finally some bilingual guy was like, yo, in the NBA, it's this. And in FIBA, it's this. And I was like, people waited too long to tell me that. Everyone here knows I'm American. Everyone here knows.
That's really funny. Yeah, I did not know that until you just said that. So that's good to know.
Yeah, there you go. All right, let's do our final.
Yeah, let me set this one up. So I want to be clear that this was never intended to be featured, but I'm going to feature it anyway. This was me. So when I set up the Google voicemail, I hadn't done it in a while, and I linked it to my own phone number. So I was like, I don't know if I can call myself to test it. So I asked Celia, I was like, can you call and see if this works? And so this is her with a silly voice asking a question. That is an NBA question.
All right.
Just wanted to set that up accordingly.
Sure.
Yo, horse bros, I got a question for you. I want to know who has the bigger sneaker size. Is it Ayo Dosunmu or Antetokounmpo? Let me know. Thanks.
That was great.
Yeah.
Was that her Little Big Liz impression? Because it sounds very Little Big Liz-esque.
It is kind of Little Big Liz coded, as the kids say. I don't know what it was, but I was very amused by it. And then I was like, yeah, I'm for sure using that.
Yeah, it's really good.
I do feel like there's some subtext to the sneaker size question.
I was going to say.
I won't make any assumptions.
She has mentioned thinking Ayo is a little Ayo in terms of his looks. So.
And I don't disagree with that. I did look it up, and the shoe sizes were more or less what I expected given their actual sizes. Ayo, I believe, is 6'4". His shoe size is 14. And Giannis, how tall is Giannis? He's like almost
6'11". Yeah.
His shoe size is 17, which is actually a little smaller than I would have thought.
Well, there you go.
So draw whatever conclusions any of you would like from that information. But
Asked
maybe you
and
just care
answered.
You know what they say, big shoes, big socks.
Yes, you're giving them socks for Christmas, and you want to make sure you get them the right size, which is thoughtful. All right, let's get into the other questions, shall we?
Let's do it. So we are going to start, of course, with our patrons. And here is our first question. This is from Mark and Liz. And the question is, what is the functional difference between an umpire, a referee, and an official in basketball? I know baseball uses the term umpire, Unrivaled uses all three, and I believe the NBA uses referee and official. First of all, credit to you for our first baseball reference. It actually didn't come from Mike or myself, but from Mark and Liz. Nicely done. I don't know that there really is one. I think it's just a different word. Obviously, they do different things because there are different sports, but I think using referee and official interchangeably is completely fine. I don't think one implies like, oh, this person's had more time in ref school. Like, don't I didn't go to ref school for 6 years to be called official. Right. Thank you very much. Like, I don't think that's a thing, but
yeah, I think there is a difference in terms of there's in most NBA games 3 refs, and I think like one is the lead one, much like in baseball you'll have the home plate umpire and then the crew chief and stuff like that. So I think
like a lead ref.
I think there is a lead ref, and that's usually the one who has the most experience. And it could be something where like one state, they have certain things where it's like you're supposed to stay on this side of the court, and when the ball's on this side, you're here, and the ball's on that. Like they have certain positions and stuff. And I think there could be a technical term for that, but I don't think it's like referee versus official. I'm sure it's like lead referee versus support referee or something like that.
Gotcha.
Yeah, but I don't know off the top of my head. But yeah, umpire to me screams of it's either baseball or tennis if you're talking about the chair umpire. And it's nails on a chalkboard when people, to me, call the umpires in baseball a ref or vice versa. If, you're talking about the basketball refs and you call them an umpire, it's like, that's not an umpire, that's a referee. Like, it's one of those silly pedantic things, but it's like, but no, we don't call them that.
Yeah, it's the same thing as when someone's like, "Oh, are you gonna watch the tennis game?" And I'm like, "Well, there are games within it, but I'm gonna watch the tennis match."
Yeah, or are you gonna put this joke in your skit?
Oh God, we dealt with that recently. We have like a softball group chat, and it's funny because I think some of these people that we play softball with like know enough about me, or they follow me on social media and they're like, oh, I'm aware this is someone who does this professionally. And I think to other people, they're like, oh, are you like going to an open mic? So it's a funny
I think this person just doesn't know the term, like, which is most common when you're talking about stand-up or improv, is that people just call things that aren't skits. I guess because everyone had to do a skit in middle school, but like the way in which the word skit is so prolific is wild to me, given that I don't think people go to skits anymore. Like, when's the last time you saw a skit? If anything, you saw a sketch for sketch comedy. Like, I don't know the last skit I've seen.
Yeah, to me, skit always sounds very juvenile, like what you do, like playing dress up at your
it's at summer camp or school,
exactly,
or like it's very. Yeah. But I get that where people ask, when I did improv stuff, it was like, "Are you going to do this in your skit?" It's like, no, because it's improvised and we don't do skits.
Truly nails on a chalkboard. So if you're listening, this is a PSA to anyone who works in the comedy world: don't say skit unless
I don't know anyone that does a skit. If anything, it'll be a sketch.
No. All right, this next question comes from Rachel B, and it's very specific for you, so this is going to be all you.
All right.
Crossover question for Mike. If Sally Jackson were to replace Smelly Gabe's Zach Wilson jersey from season 1 of the PJO TV show with that of a Knicks player, whose jersey would she have on her wall? Could be past or current player.
I'll say current because they had a current Jets jersey when they did that, and it really helped to put into perspective the way that the show worked. It confirmed that the Knicks were in the NBA Finals, which was great.
And by the way, for people who are not for anyone who just listens to this podcast and doesn't listen to your other podcast, what does all that mean?
So basically, in the first season of the Percy Jackson Disney Plus show, Percy's stepdad, who stinks, both in terms of actual smell and is a bad person, Smelly Gabe, is someone who watches sports, and he had a framed Zach Wilson New York Jets jersey, which is funny because Zach Wilson was very famously bad on the New York Jets. So to have a framed jersey of him was very funny. So that was there, and then it was established that the Knicks were the basketball team that they rooted for, because I don't remember. I think they talked about like watching the Knicks game or listening to the Knicks game on the radio. Something was talking about like Sally and Gabe watching the Knicks, and the show takes place in the summer, so it meant, because it's like near the equinox. And I did this whole thing. I did a reel where it was like, if you look at the dates and everything, this could only mean the Knicks were in the NBA Finals. And I asked the showrunners about this, who are big Sixers fans, and they said, well, yeah, we thought, as a little inside joke, the most unrealistic thing in the mythology show is that the Knicks are in the finals.
Hilarious.
And then the Knicks proceeded to be so much better than the Sixers and eliminate them from the playoffs, and I called them out on it, and it was really funny. So yeah, since they made that joke, it was like the Knicks were 76-28 or something like, and the Sixers had an opposite record. Like, it was insane.
Ginger Spurs Boy says Smelly Gabe would 100% be a Karl Malone apologist.
For sure.
Even for Smelly Gabe, that's stooping pretty low.
So Sally, who we love and is very good, she's like a really great mom. She's a champion mom. The only reason she's married to this guy is because he smells so bad that monsters can't smell that Percy is a demigod. It's to keep him safe. Like, she's the ultimate mom, ultimate champion. So if she is going to have a framed Knicks jersey, I think it's going to be of like the most team first kind of player. And I feel like she's going to have a Josh Hart jersey. I think just because he is the heart and soul of the team, does whatever needs to be done, doesn't need to start, can come off the bench, will shoot threes if you need him to shoot threes, will play lockdown D if you need to, will get the rebounds, will play through injuries, all that kind of stuff. And he's also very funny, and I think that Sally would appreciate that he's just having fun out there. So I think she'd have that. If not Josh Hart, I think she'd have a framed OG Anunoby jersey, just because, again, OG is like playing hard defense, putting in the work, just getting the job done. But Sally's a little more fun, and I think that she would appreciate Josh Hart. That's my pick. That's a great question.
I like it.
That's a really fun question.
And I also like that you went positive with it, not like who is a bad player that would be.
No, well, because there's like it seemed from the show like Sally's more invested in the Knicks, and I think if they're getting a framed jersey, Sally's having the thing. And then the question is more Sally.
Yeah. Smelly Gabe would have presumably the most annoying Nick.
He would have like a James Dolan shirt that he wore at a JD and the Straight Shot concert. Like, he'd have the worst thing, or like someone who had a really rough and grumpy time with us, like Stephon Marbury or someone, or Eddie Curry, or something like that.
All right, so we do have a few other questions from patrons, but they are like, the second question that people ask. So I want to try to get to some of the other ones first, and then if we run out of time, we will use those on future episodes. So thank you.
Yeah, we got like 5-10 minutes left, so let's do it.
Yeah. All right, let's do a couple more. This one is from Ankit, who's reached out with questions before. The question is, what are the top 3 arenas you want to see a game at that you haven't been to yet?
Ooh, that's a good question.
Great question. It's not NBA or WNBA specific. I'm just going to say basketball in general.
Yeah.
I don't know. Let's go back and forth. What's one that you've not been to that you would like to?
I want to see a game at OKC just because I know it gets super duper loud there. I tried to see if it would work on the tour that I'm doing right now and stuff. I was trying to finagle like a way to do a show in Oklahoma City and go to a game, but like it didn't line up. But I would very much like to go to a game at OKC.
Yeah, I think if we're sticking NBA, I was going to say OKC. The other ones I would really like to go to, just because the vibes seem really fun, are the Warriors and the Trailblazers.
Oh yeah, I've been. Blazer Stadium is like pretty good. It's all right. Old Warrior Stadium was amazing. I've not been to the new one, so I can't speak to that.
Yeah.
But relatedly, I would love to go to a Golden State Valkyries game, which is in the same arena, and I've heard is super hype. So I would definitely do that, because I am intrigued to see what the Chase Center is like now as compared to Roaracle, which was awesome. God, I loved Oracle.
Roaracle.
Roaracle is his nickname. Yeah. It was a really good arena. It's much like MSG, where it's very wide and not very tall. So like I went to a bunch of games when I lived there. I had a couple of last row in the arena seats, and it's still a great view.
I think what I've heard is that some of the magic is gone. It's a objectively nicer facility, but that I think that always happens when a team moves to a new stadium. Is like, especially if they had a great run in the old one, it's like something's not quite the same. WNBA wise, I would love to go to a Storm game. Obviously, you've been to many.
Yeah, Climate Pledge is good. It's really good.
One of the best. Not even because of the arena itself, but because of the atmosphere. Like, if I'm answering this question in terms of like, what building do I want to see? Like, I'm sure the Intuit Dome in LA is beautiful.
That would be cool. Yeah,
but I don't necessarily know how great the environment would be. Going outside of NBA and WNBA, even though I'm not a college basketball fan at all, seeing a game at Cameron Indoor where Duke plays, I feel like would be incredibly cool. I've never really been to like a proper high stakes college basketball game.
I was at that very famous one. It's like, it's okay, but because they have them in football stadiums and stuff, like you can get some really weird angles and really, really far away seats. So unless you have a close seat, it can be whack. My
Yeah,
seat
and I
was,
do actually
like,
want to go
super
back
far
and
away.
correct myself. I did get to go to that incredible game in Albany in the Elite Eight where Caitlin Clark and Angel Reese played each other in college for the final time. So that was really cool. And then I don't even know where the hell this is, but I know I've sent you and Chris videos of this before. There is somewhere where they do like an outdoor basketball game somewhere in Europe. And the crowd looks absolutely berserk. I don't know where the hell this is.
I would do that for sure.
I want to see it.
I would go when it's like always hard to know when they're doing it, but like when NBA players come through to like Rucker Park or Dykeman or something like that.
Totally, yeah.
I've been to those courts. I've never been there like when an actual game was happening, and that would be really cool.
Yeah, and I mean, I'm sitting here less than 10-minute walk from Rucker Park, so I need to get over there in the summer and just like hang out and watch basketball, because that court and then the one down by West 4th Street in New York are
The
very
Cage,
famous.
yeah.
The Cage, yeah.
Yeah, good ones.
Yeah, great question. All right, let's see. What do we have time for one more maybe, or one or two more?
Yeah, let's do one more.
This is a question from Ruben. Ruben says, why are the winners of the NBA and WNBA called world champions instead of NBA/WNBA champions or some other form of that title that includes the countries that actually play in the league? This has been a point of contention for a while. And I think now more than ever because of how global a sport it is. So I think it used to be like, when the NBA championship was completed, it was reasonable to say this is the best team in the world. Now, because of how global the sport is, I think that's not entirely fair. I think obviously the NBA is still considered the best league in the world in terms of basketball, but like, no disrespect to Major League Soccer, but like, I believe when they win, it's like, you're the MLS champion, because everyone would clown them if they were like, you're the best soccer team in the world.
Yeah.
So I think it's like whoever has the best league kind of gets to call it, world champion, and people accept it. But really, it should just be the league champion.
It should be, but I think with the NBA, the WNBA, and then baseball does this because of the World Series, they are just so far ahead of the next best league that it's like no question. In soccer, you would even have to argue between the top leagues, like is the Premier League better, or what about, Bundesliga, or all these things. That's why they have the Champions League, which is like all the best teams from all the leagues. So like if anyone was going to have a claim, it'd be whoever won Champions League, and that would be the best team in the world, because like all the leagues get to play. But yeah, I think with the NBA and the WNBA and MLB, it's just like those leagues are so much better than any other league, and all the best players from around the world come to that league. Like, I think it gives more of a claim to the NBA that there's more and more international people coming, because like, what's the second best league? The G League? Like, it's probably not. It's probably one of the Euro leagues, but like the best Euro League team would get smoked by most NBA teams. Like,
totally.
absolutely.
And again, in the same way, like, when you think about the best American soccer players, like Christian Pulisic doesn't play for an MLS team. He plays overseas in the Premier League, because that's where the best players go. So it's kind of the reverse of that, where, Luka is not going to stay playing in Europe because he's one of the best players. So the goal is to come here. And similar with baseball, like I think the consensus is that it's like Major League Baseball, Japan, Korea, and then probably some combination of
Dominican
leagues
Republic,
in the DR or that sort of thing. But, if anything, a lot of times baseball players who can't get a deal in the major leagues will like go over there, prove how good they are, and then come back and sign a contract here. So
or do the retirement tour kind of thing. Like MLS gets a lot of, Messi on his last legs and Zlatan on his last legs and stuff like that.
Getting that bag.
Get the bag. Not as bad. I mean, look, there's definitely worse ways to get the bag, like Cristiano Ronaldo. Like, that's the worst, most unethical bag. So, definitely MLS is a far better
that's
get
a bloody
that bag
bag
move.
Right there.
It's not a bag I want.
No. But to end on a positive note, thank you all so much for the fantastic questions. This was great, and keep them coming. I'm going to keep that Google form up, and you can submit at any time. For anybody who's listening now who didn't see our posts about it, same thing with the Google Voice number. So if you do ever want to call in and leave a voicemail, it seems like that was pretty easy to insert into the episode.
Smoothly.
So if you do have any questions for us, the number is I guess 1 for US, but 1-646-504-4235. I guess if you're not in the US, call on, WhatsApp so you don't get charged a bunch of money. But again, that's 1-646-504-4235. Or, write us and let us know what's on your mind. But this was great.
Yeah, super fun stuff. Thank you, everyone. Thank you, Adam, for organizing, putting it all together. And
sure.
We'll catch you next time. Thanks for everyone watching on the stream, too.
201 episodes. Look at that.
Wild. Look at us go. Look at them go. Thanks for listening to this episode of Horror Sources, hosted by Adam Amawala and Mike Schubert. This episode was edited by Mike Schubert. The music is by Bettina Capamanes. The art is by Addison Wakeman. The website is by Aurelia Lieb. And the social media is by both of the Horse Boys.
Thank you to our producer-level patrons, Polly Burge, Salvatore Testa, Siobhan Ellsbury, Don't Go Chasing Taco Falls, Bang, Bang, Roast Beef Debris, Denver Steam Nuggets, Anna Reed. Steph Curry is tired of listening to Draymond.
Bang.
A labored bang. Chase Underrulo, Naked Rachel, Sidney Crosby is a vampire, Chelsea's cousin, Ginger Spurs Boy, Balls to the Walls, Mats Furley, Utah Jash, and Derry Bird. You can follow us on Instagram and Facebook at Horse Hoops and on Twitter at Horse_Hoops because
Horse Hoops was run by Smelly Gabe, and we had to get that away from him.
As we should. The guy stinks in many ways.
So smelly.
You can go to our website, horsehoops.com, for links to the many things we talked about today, including a very funny voiceover of Jokic's inner thoughts.
And if you want to support the Horse Boys, you can go to patreon.com/horsehoops. You can get access to these live streams. You can get access to a whole bunch of fun audio and visual content. And you can go to horsehoops.com/merch, where currently there is a spring cleaning sale going with our merch company provider, where you can get Sup Nerds It's Basketball shirts for like $10, I think. And do that before they are no longer on the merch store, as mentioned in the last episode. They're doing the spring cleaning sale, and then whatever is not sold online will be shipped to me, and then that'll only be sold at in-person events. So if you want to get a Sup Nerds shirt, get it now. Get it now. But
I don't have one. I need one.
I don't have one either, actually. So we'll see if they have
order
our
ourselves.
sizes. Yeah, well, they ship it to us. We'll see. We can just keep it. But we will conclude this episode, as we always do, by putting our hands in the middle and saying something on the count of 3. I don't know. Did we do something about the 200 last time? What do we want to be doing for this final one?
Well, yeah, we did keeping it 200.
Yeah, we did keep it at 200. So this was 201. Should we say 200 and fun on 3?
Sure, why not?
200 and fun on 3. 1, 2, 3.
200 and fun. Thanks, everybody.
It was fun, wasn't it? What a good time. Thank you, everyone. Bye.